Well, Naja, I have a quote for you today.
Okay.
And I need you to determine who would say such a thing.
I'm going to put my thinking cap on.
Okay, Barone, are you listening?
I'm always listening.
The more time goes by, the more I hate Kesha.
Oh, God.
Like, somebody actually wrote this.
I think to express hatred over, like, to any one person, it's an awfully dehumanizing thing. And I don't know what Kesha did that was so bad to make someone hate her. I don't know.
Her singing voice. Let's start from there. But I like Kesha now. But back then, this is an old quote, obviously. She was never a singer. And she became a singer, which is great. She's a great writer, songwriter. But
so she's one of those girls who doesn't have like a powerful singing voice, but she's great at entertaining.
Sure. I encourage you to look at Rock in Rio 2011, Kesha singing.
She woke up in the morning? Is that her?
Yeah. Now she doesn't say like P. Diddy. She says fuck P. Diddy, by the way.
Okay.
It's just funny. She rewrote the lyric.
Okay, wow.
But all right. So that quote was attributed to us and the world and graced by our guest today, Mr. I'm going to cut you straight and tell you like it is, Perez Hilton.
Liar, pants on fire. Liar, pants on fire.
I followed Perez Hilton when
Me
he
too.
was I was obsessed. Followed him on X, Twitter then. He was the master of the 140 characters, which was a very tough thing. There was very few people who thrived on Twitter because you had to be really smart with very little.
Yeah.
And of the few people who thrived on that was Perez Hilton, Donald Trump, amongst a few other celebrities who were really crafty with the 140 characters. This is a man who made his entire career out of whiplashing with his proverbial tongue celebrities. Looks, behavior, music, acting.
One of the OG gossip bloggers.
Did you also know that the gossip blog that he created, he never thought it was going to be read by, millions of people. He thought it was for his friends and himself. And he just thought it was something fun for him to do. It was a hobby. And it became his career.
His entire career, how he's still sustaining himself and his family now. So
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see, what have you been up to? I did check out his Instagram and TikTok.
It's so much organic now. I looked at it. It feels like organic, clean vibe.
It feels like a grown-up.
Like he
was
went through a
kid.
detox.
He was a kid. I think he's gotten a lot nicer, but hopefully as a lot of us age, we do become more calm, subdued.
Guys like Perez Hilton walked so people like me can run. So I'm going to say
How old is Perez?
I don't know. How old is Perez Hilton?
46 years old.
Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, he's in his 40s.
He's 46.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he is a whole 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
So when he was running around his mouth, I was 16 years old.
Right. You were being inspired
That
by
was
him.
me, ferocious reader of that kind of content. I used to consume 30 different magazines a month. I'm a fan. I'm definitely having a fanboy moment. It's funny because Matt Gaetz and Ginger Gaetz have always called me the Perez Hilton from Capitol Hill. So this is definitely funny and interesting. So let's do it. Mr. Perez Hilton, welcome to Pants on Fire. So Perez Hilton, let me start off by saying this. Holy crap. You need to understand what this means, at least for me, as somebody who has followed you through pretty much every reiteration of your career, especially your spicy tweets. You dominated the 140 characters era of Twitter, which was hard to be impactful. And you did it. And to look back and now say oh, shoot, I'm sitting in front of you in an interview. I'm like, oh my God.
Surreal, right?
It's so surreal.
Yeah.
It's
well, thanks for having me.
It's thank you for coming. It's so amazing.
I've been doing this for 21 years now, 21. And
you don't look a day past 21.
I thank you. I don't take any of it for granted. And honestly, one of the reasons that I attribute to clinging to my D-list status, because it takes a lot of work, but it's really about the work. And I think it's because of my Cuban parents, being the son of two immigrants, that Latino work ethic. My parents taught me the importance of not just working hard, but working harder than everybody else. And I actually think I have an unhealthy work ethic, but I'm still here and I'm grateful for that.
You
And
know
I'm
what?
happy to be chatting with you guys.
I can relate with that, Perez, because I also have an unhealthy work ethic. I don't stop.
What does a full day in the life of Perez Hilton look like?
Oh my God. I know it's not the healthiest, but it looks like constant sleep deprivation because in addition to working as hard as I do and waking up as early as I do, I have 3 young children. I don't have a nanny. I am very grateful. My mother, a very Latino thing of us, she lives with me. So
Thank
my mom is a
goodness.
big help. My mom is more than a big help. My mom, in a way, is really a co-parent, and I love to give her the credit that she deserves. So I'm so blessed for that. But I wake up, depending on how late I go to bed. I try to go to the gym in the morning. So if I'm going to the gym in the morning, I'll wake up at 5:15 to go to the gym, so that I'm back home before the kids are having to wake up to get ready for school. But this morning, I didn't go to the gym. It's okay. It's okay.
Why didn't you go to the
okay.
gym this morning?
Because I had
Kids.
too much work yesterday, so I'm just like not caught up from yesterday. But it's
So you slept in until 6.
An
basically.
extra 10 minutes of sleep does a body good, though.
But whenever I'm like playing catch up with friends that I haven't spoken to in a while, like I'm always approaching my life from a place of gratitude. Like how grateful am I to be sleep deprived? I'm so lucky that I'm busy because it's better to complain about being too busy than to be stressed and worried about not knowing where your next paycheck is coming from.
Yeah.
That will kill you, I think, more than overwork.
It ages you too. So I can relate because I never complain about being busy. I complain when I'm not busy because then I'm wondering like, oh, the bills are going to roll up in 2 weeks. Where's the
The
money
bills
going to
ain't
come
stopping,
from?
so-
Because the bills, guess what? They
Right.
charge like they're on a warpath every month for you. So I'm on a warpath to be busy. So I can relate to that. And a lot of people in this new era of influencing, I guess now social media influencing, like you said, they don't understand how difficult it was 21 years ago to come up through this industry versus how they have instant gratification at the tip of their hands. I mean, come on, some of these kids on social media, I mean, can you even call it social media going on OnlyFans, getting naked just because, great, you have great physique, you have great boobs or great, you know what? And
I think it's just a changing terrain.
I don't think it's changing terrain.
It's changing.
No,
it's
instant
different now than
gratification
when we
is
were
ruining.
coming up. It's different.
But, since you brought that up, I don't think OnlyFans is a sustainable career for most people.
Eventually you age.
Well, you age and you've done it all, and people are not going to keep signing up unless you keep upping the ante. It's like, okay, if you just initially were posting bikini shots, then
They're gonna
you're
want more.
topless, then exactly, they're going to want more and more. And if you're not giving them more or different, if you're not even reinventing within the framework of OnlyFans, it's going to be the law of diminishing returns. Eventually, you're going to stop making as much as you currently are. And then, I'm such a parent. I do worry that OnlyFans is like the marijuana, right? It's like
It's
the
the
gateway
gateway.
drug. Because if you have a horny old guy who offers a young lady $10,000 to have sex with him for one night, $10,000 for one night, like
Not even one night, for 1 hour.
yeah, or 1 hour exactly, yeah. So it's really tempting for people that are struggling financially.
Yeah.
And I guess, whatever. Consenting adults can do whatever they want, but I'm honest, right? Like if my kids said, I'm going to have an OnlyFans career, I'm like, I would be very disappointed. I don't want that, but it's your life.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie and pretend like, oh, great. Yay. I'm so happy for you. You have an Only. Hell no. I'm going to judge my kid. I am so ashamed.
So you know what? You know what is so iconic for me was always about you is you never filtered yourself. And
No.
it's come at a great cost at times for you in your career.
However, I have learned over the years that I can express my honest opinion in ways that aren't purposefully cruel and hurtful. And that's the difference. When I was young, I was a see you next Tuesday. All I cared about was getting the clicks, the views, the attention, the money. And it didn't bother me if it came at the expense of somebody else. And some people, like Donald Trump, never change. he, and I don't think this is a positive. I don't view it as a positive, especially as you get older, I would like to believe that we are more connected to other people, that we are more compassionate. I've gotten more compassionate as I've gotten older.
You're also a good dad. You seem like you're just a great parent, and that means that's a hell of a difference between yourself and the person that you just mentioned.
I mean, he's a good dad too. That's the one thing nobody can take away from him.
You can take a lot away from him.
But I am still sassy, right? Like, I like to have fun. And here's what, it's important to be honest, though. There's some young people especially who believe that any opinion that is critical, if you voice that publicly, that it's bullying. And I'll disagree with that. How you express yourself, that's what determines whether something is bullying or not. But saying, Chapel Roan released a new song and I don't like the song.
They'll say that's bullying.
You should have kept it. No, I love it, by the way. I'm a huge Chapel Roan fan. But, some people believe, or like the big trend, I don't know if it's still going on, but there's this big trend in college campuses of trying to silence opposing voices. And I don't believe that. Like a couple weeks ago, I was on Ben Shapiro's show. The week before that, I was on Meghan McCain's podcast.
I love Meghan.
Yeah, me too. I've even done. I haven't recently. This was before she went real cray cray. But a couple years ago, I did Candace Owens's podcast. I grew up in Miami, where if you don't know, the overwhelming majority of Cubans in Miami are Republicans. Yeah. And even though I don't identify that way anymore, that's what I was, around when I was growing up in all of my formative years. And my family, the overwhelming majority of them are Republicans, and they're still my family. And I still love them. I just don't talk politics with them. I don't need to. I'm not going to change how they think. I don't care about changing how they think. They live their life. I live mine. I still love them. All is good.
Let me ask you a question on that because it's important. Do you believe, because I know a lot of Cuban families, there's a lot of synergies, right, between my Brazilian background and their Cuban background and the kind of same identity almost with the countries, right, in a weird way. They would say that, the generation that was born in the States, they'll never understand why we are the way we are. They always say that. Do you feel like your parents and your family think that way too because you were born here and you'll never be able to relate to why they are the way they are? Or do you think that that's just completely divorced from the reason?
No, I get it. I just think, this is why I would not want to have conversations with them about it. It's because, in my opinion, their thinking is based on misinformation. They come from a background of countries like Cuba and Venezuela and other countries where you have failed attempts at socialism. Medicaid, that's socialism. A free public education. There are so many things in the United States that are, quote, socialist.
Social security.
Exactly. But they're not. Oh, no. A family member has said, no. But I paid into that. That's not the same. That's not socialism. I paid into that.
Do you know how many people paid into it and died? And you benefit from it? So that's how I equate it. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So, they come from their experience, but their experience doesn't translate literally here. It's like they view Democrats as socialists, and they're not. Some principles might be socialist principles, but they don't want the United States to be like Cuba or to be like Venezuela, and they just won't ever accept that.
My mentor in Congress was Tim Burchett, and he's always told me, you don't have to agree in order to be friends. You can be friends with people on the other side of the aisle. You don't need to agree with them. And that's kind of how I carry my life these days. Like we can disagree on everything, but we can be friends. We don't need to agree politically, but there's so much more to life than political hot buttons, right? So I appreciate that. But I do want to go back a little bit and talk about this world of social media influencing and everything. You did mention you were on Ben Shapiro's podcast, which, by the way, we were talking. It was so funny though, because I could tell, bless him, he did not want to be doing that segment. We were just talking about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, and that's where we're going.
He had zero interest in that conversation,
of course,
but he did it anyways. And actually, it's so funny to me because to her credit, Blake Lively really has brought Americans together, liberal and conservative.
Yes. You've done extensive coverage in the situation of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Now, here's my question. How did that come to be? And how does this become a conservative cause all of a sudden? I'm confused as a conservative.
Oh, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. It's really just all about the money. Everybody saw that the stories, the videos, anything Baldoni Lively was getting so much attention, crazy views. So that's why Megyn Kelly, everybody, they've all been covering it. And then if you go look on their YouTube or any of their social media and you compare the stats, a video talking about this topic versus any other topic, Baldoni Lively will get more views. Everybody wants to make more money. It's all about money. And they will put it within the framework of false accusations. We've got to protect our men.
So clickbait.
People are so quick to believe. It's not clickbait. It's they could be having meaningful discussions on it, but it's just about money.
But if they're talking about that, people are going to click and then they make money.
But clickbait means, you're teasing something that doesn't, and you don't really deliver that, or that you're manipulating the subject matter.
Yeah.
In my opinion, yeah.
I think they just phrase it with a hooky, catchy,
it's a popular topic.
Yeah.
And we know people are gonna...
I don't understand it. Who do you think's in the right? Who's in the wrong?
At first I was very neutral because I'm a fan. I'm not on team her or team him. I'm on team the truth. That's what matters to me. So I was like, let me gather all the information. And then in December, after she filed her complaint, wow, it felt like a bomb went off. Like, oh my God, I felt so much sympathy for her.
She looked like the victim in that when she filed.
Exactly. Until he filed his lawsuit against the New York Times and then the subsequent lawsuit against her and her husband and her publicist. And I read everything. Literally, I've read every complaint, every motion, every letter, everything. And I was like, wow. I was reminded of this quote by Desmond Tutu, something along the lines of, in instances of oppression, if you remain silent, you are siding with the oppressor. And I was like, I can't be neutral here. I have to condemn what I believe Blake Lively did. So, it's possible that the truth might be somewhere in the middle, but it's highly unlikely after everything that I've read.
She wanted to up her participation in what she sees as a very lucrative franchise, which now I believe has been destroyed. This could have been the next 50 Shades of Grey.
So there's no coming back from this?
I don't think so.
Not with it possible?
No.
What do you think, Perez?
Not with this cast.
Well, the franchise, I agree with George. I think it's tainted beyond repair.
Yeah.
But what I think really happened is after the fact, when all of this behind the scenes drama became public, she and her husband gambled. They made threats against Justin Baldoni, and he did not capitulate to them. They had even written this apology that they wanted him to release this statement admitting to wrongdoing and things that he claimed he never did.
He released that?
No, he didn't. He said, I'm not going to do that. I didn't do that. So they sued him. What they were not counting on, and this is what my exclusive sources confirmed to me, one of the co-founders of his production company, Wayfarer Studios, is a billionaire. And the billionaire is paying all of Justin Baldoni's legal fees. If that were not to have happened, he probably would have given up a long time ago.
Folded and gotten
we all fold when we run out of money. I know from personal experience.
They didn't know that he had a machine behind him.
That's good. He had a sugar daddy for his lawfare.
Since you are literally the expert on this case, what are you predicting is going to happen with their careers in the future, the legal process? What do you think?
Well, Baldoni's attorney just gave an interview where he explicitly stated that he will not settle because he needs to prove his innocence in a court of law. So however, lawyers are liars, and just because the lawyer said that,
lawyers are liars.
It could be a negotiation tactic. But unfortunately, sadly for the public, but not for me, because I'm going to be giving it to y'all. If it does end up going to trial, the trial would begin in March of 2026. That's the scheduled start date. And there are no cameras in the courtroom.
Do you think their marriage is going to survive this?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, they have 4 children together. They've been married for over a decade, and they just posted a loved up, adorable photo. They were baking, making cupcakes and cookies. No, I think that this actually will bring them closer together, just like all of the drama brought Harry and Meghan closer together as well.
I think she's finished, though, regardless of how the outcome here.
No, I disagree.
I think she is.
I think so long as she stays married to Ryan Reynolds, she'll be fine. I think going forward, she'll definitely, it'll be harder for her to get work with a big studio because the film distributor for It Ends With Us, Sony, was caught in the middle of this war, and she was exerting more and more control and making demands of Sony. I think going forward, she will only work on projects that she produces herself and that gets directors that know what they're signing up for, and she'll be smart and strategic, making sure that they're not very expensive projects because she does still have fans. So and actually, I think that's the future of movie making in general.
You don't think that the Taylor Swift hammer dropping on her hurt her? When Taylor Swift walked away from her, I thought that was going to, her credibility at that point suffered. Wouldn't you agree? Come on. You've been reporting on this for 21 years. I think we could agree there.
It depends. We're not 100% sure that Taylor cut off all ties. They're just not publicly being besties at the moment, which is smart for Taylor Swift. She gets enough drama and hatred. You know, the president of the United States talking smack about her. Yeah. She doesn't need any of this other drama.
Such a shame. I like Taylor personally. I'm a Swiftie. Hey, I introduced an entire congressional bill called the Swift Act. So I am a Taylor fan. Taylor Swift is. I feel bad for how she gets.
So you did slip in that Meghan and Harry sitch. What's your take on Meghan's new show? What's your take on their relationship?
She has a show.
She has a show on Netflix. Yeah, it's a cooking lifestyle show.
I can't stomach her, so I don't even.
Ooh,
I think the show is really smart and great for her, especially because it's tied into this whole new rebrand where she's any moment now is going to be selling products. She's got a website. She's trying to be the new Gwyneth Paltrow. Never will be Martha Stewart, but. The smart thing about the show is
candles, did those work out for Gwyneth Paltrow, though? She lost her husband over it, just like Joan Rivers said famously.
Her business is still around. I mean, I don't know the financials of Goop, but good for her. You know, the difference is Meghan doesn't need to be the star of the show. The star of the Netflix show is the food that she's making, the crafting, the decorating, all of those things. That's the star. However, she just announced a podcast. I think it's the title, if I'm remembering correctly, it's Confessions of a Female Founder.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And that, to me, sounds so boring. Like, she's not a successful... She's probably going to have
some amazing guests, though. I'm pretty sure.
But still, it seems so niche. Like, I would think it'd be smarter of her to be a little bit more mass, or at least, here's the difference, right? With the podcast format, and look, you both are doing it right now. She needs a co-host, I think, and she doesn't have a co-host. It's going to be all about her and the guests that she has. If she had a co-host, people might be more open to, all right, well, I don't like Meghan or I don't agree with her, but all right, that co-host is very sensible. That co-host knows what they're talking about. So it's another hook to get people in. Like I have a podcast and my co-host is like the opposite of me.
Well, that's what we have here.
Yeah.
That's the reason we're here, because if I sit here and talk my bullshit to my guests all day long, people are going to never tune in because there's no yin to the yang, and that's where the yin comes in to my yang, and it works. But that's the thing with Meghan, though. She is so self-centered. She is so self-absorbed. I saw that during the Oprah interview. Like, she is so unaware of her surroundings.
People find her, the things that I've been seeing online is she's unrelatable.
She is.
How many of us know a duchess that we can relate to?
Girl, she's a duchess by marriage. How many duchesses
do you know?
It's not like she's Kate Middleton, who's actually like comes from that breed of human.
Something by?
She's a duchess by marriage as well.
Isn't she by marriage?
Okay, she's not a noble, but I mean, when you compare,
wasn't she like a regular girl?
Let me put it this way:
was.
The Middleton, she's a regular street urchin.
Diana was
also just a regular girl.
No, Diana comes from the Spencer family. They were a part of the
Diana
nobility.
is nobility, right? And she was a people person.
Okay.
Nobody's ever going to be relatable like Princess Diana.
And there's a reason that
she was an angel.
Hate
Meghan Markle is
There's
awful.
a reason.
She's
and we don't have
awful.
to say the reason, but there's a reason.
It has nothing to do with race.
Did I say that?
No,
I was going to talk about her haircut.
No. I know where you took that.
I didn't even
off.
say that. Why do you always have to pull the race card?
Because you were going there.
I literally was not going to say that.
Yes, you
Dear
were.
God, check yourself.
Girl, yes,
before you wreck yourself, George.
Perez, here's the deal. Everybody likes to say that people like talk about her because of her skin color, her race. She's a pretty girl. By the way, full disclosure, Meghan Markle is gorgeous. Like, she's gorgeous like sourdough. She's so pretty on the outside, but sour on the inside.
I feel like that's also subjective.
I don't know. I don't see a future for her, but I don't want to talk. You see, she takes up the oxygen.
She has a Netflix show.
It doesn't matter.
And we just
do you know who also
has
a Netflix show? Tiger King, and he's in prison. So let's talk about TikTok. How's TikTok going for you?
It's going.
TikTok's a lot, right? So I happened to walk upon Perez, this interesting individual called Ash Trevino.
Oh God!
Now, supposedly the worst mom on TikTok, and I need your help. Seriously, me and my viewers need your help. So if you can set up who is Ash Trevino and why is she supposedly the worst mom on TikTok, we are dying to know. I need to understand this, please.
She is a self-proclaimed inmate hopper. She would date a lot of men that were incarcerated and have relations with them. And she's done things like even a week ago. It's so crazy to me. So,
she's an inmate hopper.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what she did a week ago. You know, people watch her lives, I think, because she's so messy. But there comes a point where, you know, it's messy and then things that you just don't do on TikTok Live. She exposed what she calls her new.
Isn't TikTok super strict on that?
She's supposed to get banned for that, right?
You would think she'd get banned for that, but she's still going live. She's got a bunch of backup accounts. I think she was drunk. She was on a public toilet.
Was it like a Sharon Stone moment? Like, oops. That was intentional.
But I literally saw the hair on her vagina.
Hair? Who doesn't shave these days?
Oh, she doesn't.
Everybody doesn't shave. Do you shave?
You don't shave?
Not really.
Oh, dear God.
Not really.
Okay.
I like the whole...
All right, Amazonic jungle queen. I get it.
How many kids does she have?
She's got 2.
By
they don't
inmates?
live with her. By a former inmate. Their dad, I believe, is dead. He died of some type of cancer. But the girls live with their grandparents, so she's not with them at the moment, which is probably for the best.
The state took the kids, or like?
No, allegedly she did it voluntarily because after she started getting all this TikTok fame, the thing about going live on TikTok is that, you know, if you're very popular on TikTok Live and you're problematic, people will come for you. So viewers started to report her to Child Protective Services, and they would get all these calls, and she'd get all of these, you know, cases opened, and they'd go in and investigate. And eventually she said, you know what? I'm just going to have my daughters live with my mom. That's what she tells people.
That was her solution? Instead of maybe scaling back. Does she have any talent? I know the answer to this.
I mean,
she holds an engaged audience.
She does, but so does the Kardashians, and none of them have talent. What's their talent? I mean, they're great. They work hard. They have good work ethic, but the only one with real talent is Kendall. She's a great model, but I mean, is her talent shadowed by the fact she's only a model because of who she is? But Kim has no talent. She destroyed an entire season of American Horror Story.
I mean, this is probably a very unpopular opinion, but I don't hate them.
When they
first came out,
I don't hate them either.
But they're talentless. Bianca Del Rio said it best. You remember when she wore a floaty, came out and said, y'all thought it was Kim. No, it's me. I have too much talent to be compared to them.
Yikes.
And they were sitting in the
But
audience.
look what we're
in some
talking about
award.
now. We're talking about them. It's a
I mean,
talent to keep your name relevant.
It's a talent to keep their name relevant. So let me ask you a question. So you're telling us about Ash Trevino. Like, is this a symptom of what's to expect for the new era of influencers? Like more people like Ash Trevino, or is this a one-off shoot? Because if this is it, it's ugh.
No, well, that's the great thing about social media. It's so vast, you know? Yes, there is a whole coterie of the messy ones, but then there's also, you know, people that are positive and the complete opposite of that. And you find whatever you're drawn to and you watch whatever you enjoy. I personally love chatting with everybody and going live with all of these different personalities, the positive ones and the messy drama ones too. And I love that I can talk to the messy ones. I can get the tea, but I don't have to be creating the drama myself. It's like,
You're here with
you're
me.
the drama.
I'm the drama. I'm the messy one, and you're here, so I appreciate.
Well,
that.
let me turn the tables and ask you some questions.
Go ahead.
So, first of all, how did the two of you know each other?
The production crew pretty much introduced us from a casting call. So we did not know each other prior to working together. But funny thing,
You want to
Naja,
tell him the real story?
just tell him why you said yes to this gig.
So, we have the same birthday. We're both July 22nd, and I knew of him. Like when I got the calls, I'd heard about him. Obviously, I live in New York City.
She lives under a rock. She heard of me. I was in the front page of every newspaper.
But I stay away from politics. Like I stay away from a wet fart. Like I don't want to be near that. So I knew his name for sure. So I got the call. I was like, wait, that's the guy. Oh, that's the guy. And George, people say they can say what they want. He's funny. He's likable. He has some hella one-liners. And I love how he handled the press. This guy can take a punch.
I gave them donuts and Chick-fil-A for crying out fucking loud.
And he's so unapologetic. So I took the call because I was like, oh, you know, on the Wikipedia. I was like, wait, we have the same birthday. I guess it was a screen test or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I really do like them. I like this guy. Yeah, we don't agree on a lot of stuff.
Pretty much anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
But
that's good.
yeah. But I was like, okay, he's damn, I was gonna say he's honest.
I am honestly blunt with my feelings, and then
But the podcast is called Liar Liar.
Yeah,
so there's
pants
that.
on fire.
Liar, pants on fire. So, but we know where that comes from. But yeah, I like his candor.
Embellishments, whatever.
So that's how
So,
we met. I thought we were going to tell the other story of how we met.
What, on a porn set?
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
favorite co-star ever.
I was happy to just be a guest here, so I didn't do any research. I'm just curious. What's the latest that went on with all of your legal drama, George? Is that still ongoing?
It's still ongoing. I have sentencing scheduled for April 25th.
That's pretty soon.
That's
and how
pretty
many?
soon.
What's the possibility? What's the possibility, and what's the most likely scenario?
I don't know the most likely because I don't like to guess, but if you read the media, they love to say George faces up to 22 years in prison, which is
my God.
which is a sensational way of actually reporting the news. But it's sensationalism like that's destroying our country from news media. But yeah.
So, oftentimes, like I said, I didn't do my research. I'm just a guest, but I'm just like a naturally curious person. I don't remember every single detail of your story, but was there money involved? Did you allegedly give the IRS any money? You misappropriated campaign funds?
It's campaign
allegedly?
finance. It's all campaign finance issues for me.
Oh, that's a real problem because look at the Chrisleys. They're doing some serious time.
And I think they're angling for a pardon from President Trump. And if I know President Trump well enough, that's a pardon that I can see easily. Like he will come to the aid of his fellow TV stars,
Do you think if you do have to spend years in prison, do you hope, do you expect, would you ask Trump to pardon you?
You bet your sweet ass
Absolutely.
I would. Of course I'm going to ask.
Have those conversations begun?
I have not talked about this publicly for obvious reasons, but let's just put that we're exploring anything we can to, ameliorate the blow.
And have you accepted God, I might actually have to do some time.
I accepted that a long time ago, and I've become uber cynical over it because I think it's like you have to just accept. And then the moment you accept something like that, your life, your purview in life just becomes overtly cynical. So versus being jolly and happy and, all the above, I'm just super cynical these days. It sucks the life out of you, but it's necessary. You have to do it.
He wears it well, though.
Do you have any regrets over anything that you did or how you handled things?
I just regret, I always say this to people, I regret aligning myself with certain people that I should have known better. I didn't know them because I'm a newbie to politics, right? I was a newbie to politics, but I should have known better. Like, there were enough signs that I think I should have been like, yeah, I don't know if I should continue having professional relationships with this person. But I ignored all of that in the sign of ambition. I'm like, oh, it's too hard to go find good help. So this is the available help immediately. I'm just going to stick to it. And that's what I did. And that I regret deeply and dearly.
And do you take accountability for anything else that maybe you were a more active participant in? If I remember, people alleged you lied about your background.
Oh, no,
I've
taken all of that responsibility.
Okay.
It is stupid. It's unnecessary. And quite frankly, when I always tell people, my actual story is so much more compelling because who doesn't like a rags to riches story, right? So it's just, there's so much behind it to it. And if you'd like, I definitely go on your podcast and we can unpack all of it when you're well-researched. But I do have a question for you. When I first came in your radar, what was your honest opinion? Like, who the fuck is this queen?
It just seemed so shocking to me that everything was happening. I love a good story, and everything was being exposed so quickly. I was like, how did this happen? Because this should not have happened. Like, it's like a house built of lies.
Cards,
allegedly.
lies, sticks,
Yeah.
whatever you want to say. Yeah, it's
Actually, I am curious about this because your story reminds me, not a lot, but a little. I'm sure you remember that former Republican Congressperson, Aaron Schock,
I
right?
hate Aaron, but sure.
Oh, you do hate him? Why?
I have an incident. So 2021, or is it 2021, we're in Nashville, Texas for the Log Cabin Republicans, the gay Republicans, right? Convention. And we're at the Hyatt in Nashville, brand new Grand Hyatt there. And myself, Rick Grinnell, high profiler gay guys are all in the room for panels. And then Rick was interviewing Aaron. And a question that came up was like, why, when you were in Congress, you voted against so many LGBT initiatives and you were hypercritical of gays? Well, I didn't know I was gay. He voted against it because he was a closeted asshole who was hurting his own community. I can go to sleep at night knowing that I never voted to obscure or to censure gay people in this country. So, and I got elected as a gay Republican. That's hard. That was the first one, openly.
So ever since you left Congress, what's it been like to be George Santos? Like, is it easy or hard to meet men, to date men, or to even hook up?
I'm married.
Oh, you are?
I am. I've been with my husband. We're married 3 years, going on 4 this year. And altogether, we've been together 8 years.
Oh, fab.
So,
is your husband like a private individual?
Very, very private. Actually, one of the most private parts of my life, I afforded him as much cover as I could. I worked really hard. My deal with every media outlet was, you report on my husband, you'll never get comment from me. And
wow.
And they upheld their end of the bargain. That's why I started talking so much to the press. It was a deal. The day you report on my husband, you'll never get a comment from me ever again. And I think it was 2 outlets that took Instagram photos of me and him at like Mar-a-Lago and reported on it, but made it, no one else wanted to burn that bridge when I was the hottest topic and button in the news cycle. So I managed to afford him a lot of privacy, which he's very thankful for. But Matt's my husband. And yeah, if I were single, I'd be screwed. Can you imagine me with a profile on Grindr? I'm George Santos. Let's hook up.
What are your thoughts on, another high profile gay conservative, Milo Yiannopoulos? What do you think about him?
You see, I know Milo. Milo's an interesting guy. Like he's had his fair share of controversies, but I say this all the time. Milo walks so I can run, because he was kind of the one who made it okay to be a gay conservative, outrageously messy pundit kind of situation. And that's a category created by Milo where a bunch of us now occupy. There's like 6 or 7 of us now that have some level of like a national presence that occupy that same category. So I have to give flowers to Milo for creating it. But
he's still a little, not even a little. I denounce so much of what he does and says. Like even just a few days ago, he was like just saying the N-word on Twitter. I still call it Twitter. He was saying the N-word. I'm like, why are you using that word? Why are you saying to be edgy, to get attention? Like, ew, no, gross.
I do feel bad for him right now because Troy, his cat, went missing, and I'm a pet lover.
Maybe one of the N-words took it.
So. Oh my God. So, Jesus Christ. So I feel bad. I actually texted him and I shared sympathy. But Milo and I have always had like a bumpy kind of like, we like love-hate relationship because I don't agree with a lot of his stances, obviously, especially the N-word.
You text him about his cat, so.
I texted him about his cat because I can sympathize.
Fuck his cat.
No, that's messed up.
Fuck his cat.
No.
He said the N-word.
The poor cat
Literally
doesn't deserve.
Screw his cat.
Yeah, but the cat doesn't deserve. No.
The cat deserves a better owner.
Oh, come on.
And I hope they're in the streets and they found one.
That's just so mean.
That's not mean.
That's mean.
He said a very
and what are your
deadly
thoughts
word.
on Candace Owens?
Naja, what are your thoughts?
No. This is your interview. He's interviewing you.
So look, I used to think Candace was like a very promising, amazing person, and now I just think she's lost it. Like her obsession with gays, and her obsession with like weird things.
She made this whole stupid series about how the first lady of France is transgender.
It's nuts. She's an old French lady wearing a wig. That is all that there is there. It's a bad wig.
Isn't she rebranding right now? Like
I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, she is trying to pivot, doing more Hollywood stuff, but she still does the conspiracy theory. I don't like conspiracy theories.
Me neither.
I like facts, receipts, proof, timeline,
Like I don't live in the conspiracy world. I don't thrive in that environment. Michelle Obama is not a man. Like we have to stop that. That's insane. Like I feel crazy when I hear friends of mine saying like, Michelle's Big Mike. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. Like I can't do it.
You still identify as a gay Republican.
I'm an independent. I'm a conservative independent.
I thought he was going to say I'm not gay.
In the sense of, I'm gay, darling. I am gay. But I can tell you how many gay things I did just yesterday. But all joking aside, I am more of an independent these days in the sense of I do support President Trump, and I am not shy about that. But at the same time, I call bullshit for the Republicans all the time. Like, I am probably their worst enemy sometimes because I know how it works. I saw the sausage be made. I helped this speaker become speaker. I know Mike Johnson. I courted him and begged him to throw his hat in the ring to become Speaker of the House.
That was your work.
So, long story short, it's like, I know they're bullshit and I know when they're feeding it, like when you're pressing the meat into the tripe, like I know when the sausage is being made. So when I see something I don't like and disagree, I pop off. And when I pop off, they hate it. I get text messages like, George, you're not helping our messaging. I have no allegiance to them whatsoever. I rebranded as an independent who does support full-throatedly Donald Trump.
Well, obviously you were wanting that pardon.
Oh, that has nothing to do with it. I've supported him since 2015, and to my own credit, that's 10 years. I'm consistent.
Well, I don't support him.
I get it. Were you ever friends with him?
No.
Even before presidency and politics?
Did you find him likable or entertaining?
I mean, he's very savvy. He knows how to work the media, but I would not call him a great intellect. And I would say that one of the signs of stupidity is thinking that you're way smarter than you actually are.
So I have a question for you. 21 years ago, Trump was at the peak of his career, I would say.
Yeah.
with The Apprentice. And I mean, I guess there was the revival after the early release of Art of the Deal. It really became bigger with the show, right? And everybody wanted to talk about Art of the Deal. He was an inspiration. I grew up, I remember as a kid going by Fifth Avenue. I'm like, Mom, one day I want to have a building and have my name on it like Trump. I used to say that like 6, 7 years
You're gonna
old.
get that.
And I used to say that, and I believe he was the American dream. So much so that dozens of rappers rapped it, dozens of singers sung it. Like everybody has sung about how Trump was the American dream. Barack Obama wrote that in his senior graduate year, that Donald Trump is the American dream everybody aspires to be. This is Barack Obama's words. So when you look back at that, you used to cover him at that time, especially when he left Marla
he's
for
great.
Melania.
Entertainment. That's like
He's great on television for sure.
So what's your take on Trump then versus Trump now?
Politics. It's just that word. Like, so you're still supporting Donald Trump. We want that pardon. Do you think Trump voters?
I love how you threw that in there. Oh my!
Do you think Trump voters are happy with their vote right now?
I have not met a single Trump voter who told me that they're unhappy with their vote. And I'm out there. I do X Spaces quite regularly, and I have not yet met one. I don't know what y'all experiences has been, but have you met any who are saying like I regret my vote?
I mean, I see them on social media sharing their stories. Yes.
Yeah, but there was that one lady on TikTok who made that big, like, I regret my vote. And then we discovered she was actually campaigning for Kamala Harris. So there's a lot of fake people. The Democrats are really, and Republicans do this too, but I wouldn't put it past, because I've lived the political world, I wouldn't put it past Democrats planting people out there, paying them to make these accusations to create a movement, and then probably get in the heads of some people who are maybe on the fence. And that's how they usher a movement to start. It's seeding a movement. That's what it's called.
Nothing, like people come out and realize, oh, I pressed the wrong button. Like they did it with the previous administration and the one before that and the one before that.
Yeah, but this was a correction to their mistake of 2020. The people who voted for Trump now in the Rust Belt were correcting an error they believe they made in 2020 by not reelecting him, and they regretted that, and that's why they went and voted for him again. That's literally the scientific explanation to sweeping the Rust Belt.
I think it's more of a mental health thing.
It's not. It's a natural reaction to the reality of their finances. They were better off between 2017 and 2021. Removing the pandemic.
Like we're talking about people
versus
that have
the last 4 years.
Now. Like
I don't think it's
you
it's
can
too
have buyer's
soon.
remorse.
It's too soon.
Well,
he's not even 100 days in office.
Look at the little things that are starting to be ticked off. Like it hasn't hit everybody's doorstep yet, but it's coming for all of us.
Look, they lied about Social Security and Medicaid. That's not been cut off or cut down. They've lied about.
We'll see. It's still early.
No, the bill passed. Check's still cleared.
You don't think that there's anything that's going to hit your front door?
Nope. Or yours. Or Perez. I think it's going to hit the front doors of people who want to leech off the system. I do believe it's going to hit the front door of people who want to sit at home, like the welfare queens, for instance. Yeah, it's going to hit their door for sure.
I think it's already hit my front door for
job.
sure. Like,
That's not so hard. Perez said it himself. He wakes up at 5:15 in the morning to go to the gym, to be a productive member of society, to create income to support his family. And he's upset when he doesn't have to do that because he wants that, because he wants to have the guarantee of the income. I think we should instill that as a
small percentage
value.
of people that don't work or are unable to work, we're harping on
Unable is different. Those people are fine. People who choose to systemically live off the system have to go to work.
It's difficult to differentiate between the two when you're passing laws.
It's not.
It's tough.
It's not.
Look at all the departments that are being cut right now.
It's not hard to differentiate. It's simple. People with disabilities, they're on record. They have documentation. They're disabled.
They are.
People
who are
disabled.
Veterans, like that. Did you see that, Perez, in the news? What just happened with the vets?
They cut so many people.
No media coverage whatsoever.
So I'm going to educate you guys. Trump didn't cut jobs from the VA. Here's what he did. He just reset.
Pull this up, please.
Give me a second. I'm going to explain this.
Talking to Barone.
During Trump's first term, he cut 2,000 jobs in the VA, and the VA became more efficient. They went from having a backlog of thousands of cases back to hundreds, right? With less people. When Biden came in, he expanded the VA workforce by 4,000. And he just gave Trump the VA with thousands of backlogs and cases. Look, we don't need to like Trump. We don't need to agree with him.
What does that have to do with the
but
people
he is
protesting in the street?
He's trying to make the VA more efficient because our veterans deserve that.
Would
you agree, Perez, that the veterans deserve that?
Wait, in an effort to do things more efficiently, do you understand that there are people that cannot, like we were talking about, cannot work versus will not work and refuse to? Both are going to be affected equally because it's really tough to make that differentiation.
It's not. They're just going to have to go through their requalifications and prove the burden of their. The way this works is you're put on notice for 90 days. Within the next 90 days, you need to recertify. And during recertification is when they're going to suss out the bullshit versus the people who are legit. And the messed up part
about that, there are some people that can't recertify.
Of course they can.
They're mentally inept. They don't.
Well,
they don't
if they're
have
mentally inept, they have a guardian. But if they're mentally inept, they have a guardian.
There's so many people in this country that are alone and have no one at this point.
They have state-appointed guardians.
That's a major issue here.
No, it's not. Those are default recertifications. If you're under a guardianship, you don't even need to recertify because you're already under a guardianship. That explains quite bluntly you require assistance.
We got to talk about the EPA too, though. But that's
that's a conversation for another day. But Perez Hilton, I want to say. Everybody I spoke to was so excited, but the most excited people were Matt and Ginger Gates, who literally for an entire... Ever since I've known them and when I got elected, Matt Gates turned around to me and says, George Santos, you're the Perez Hilton of Capitol Hill. So there's always been that commentary that I was the version of you on Capitol Hill. And Ginger, couldn't be more ecstatic. Like, oh my God, you're going to interview Perez Hilton. I even joked. I said, I'm scared that it's going to turn on to, I'll ask 2-3 questions and then he'll start interviewing me, which is exactly what just happened.
I loved it though. Edifying himself.
But they were super excited. And again, they've always made the joke, George, you're the Perez Hilton of Capitol Hill. So
I do have another question. You made some enemies during your time doing what you do, right? Is there anybody that you regret speaking on? And if you could say anything to them right now, what would you say and who would that be?
I mean, so many people. You see, that's the thing. I have a lot of regret and deep shame. And I understand why a lot of people don't like me and aren't willing to give me the grace to see me for who I am today. Because that expression, a first impression is a lasting impression. Yeah. Don't I freaking know that? Yeah. And also, I take more than full accountability. I can't claim the ignorance of youth. I wasn't that young. I was in my late 20s. I also can't claim ignorance. Young. I also can't claim ignorance. When I was a miserable see you next Tuesday, like I told you guys earlier, I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I didn't care. The best way to describe it, and people might think I'm full of shit. You've cursed already. People might think I'm full of shit, but attention, and actually George probably knows this. Attention is a drug. It is a very powerful drug. And if you're an addict and you're needing, your brain says you need another hit, you will do bad things to get that other hit. You might steal from your roommate. You might, hurt your mother to taking her car and crashing it or whatever. You'll do things that you regret, but you don't care. At the time, all you care about is getting that next hit. And that's how I was an attention addict in those early days. And listen, I'm still an attention addict. You don't cure yourself from that, but I try to manage it better than I used to when I was younger.
It's megalomania. I mean, megalomania is an actual disease. And every politician, by the way, suffers of megalomania, right? It's levels and depths of how much, but you're no different. But
I love the self-awareness. And I can tell that you are a very healed person and you're speaking from a completely different place.
Well, I did a lot of therapy.
I can tell. This is the healed version that we're getting, and I love it.
Last thing for you, if there was one celebrity that you feel like you wronged so much that if you had an opportunity today that you would go up to them and say, I'm sorry, and that you wish they would listen to you, can you name that one celebrity? Just one. Just the one that you really feel like, I really hope that one day I get to say I'm sorry and that this person acknowledges my apology.
The thing is like I've already apologized to a lot of these people. I would say the first person that comes to mind is Britney Spears. And I've already apologized to Britney publicly, multiple times, multiple ways, and privately as well.
Yeah.
Not just for show, not just on
Has
the
she
program.
acknowledged it and accepted your apologies?
Yes.
I love her, by the way.
She after, I went really hard against Britney back in the day. After all of that, she put me in her circus tour. I was in the opening video montage of the circus tour, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, this is such a healing moment for me. Hopefully it is for her. And then a few years after that, she also brought me up on stage in Vegas at her residency, and she tied me up and walked me around like a dog, and I loved it.
I guess that was her
That's a
version
cool
of saying,
moment.
like, I earned this, bitch. Sit.
You guys
But
made
yes,
up in that moment.
Yeah, I love
obvious-
Britney.
Yeah.
I love Britney.
She would be the one person that I would say
And you got to atone for
That's
Yeah.
good.
That's
Look,
good.
Perez Hilton, we finish every podcast with 2 truths and a lie. And we
All right.
always ask our guests to give us 3 statements, and we need to figure out which one is the lie. And I guess it's so fun. 2 truths and a lie with George Santos on Pants on Fire. For the record, I still hold the best record of sussing all the lies. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. But what are your 2 truths and a lie, Perez?
all right. I'm just going to blurt them out quickly because
Go ahead.
then you can try to figure it out. Gloria Estefan is my godmother. I've eaten cow testicles. And Madonna dedicated a song to me in concert.
Okay, so I can see the Gloria Estefan. She's Cuban. She's Miami based. You said you're from Miami. That seems like a no brainer. And I love Gloria Estefan.
It's very believable. Cow testicles. That's
Cow
a delicacy
testicles,
in
I've
some
tried.
places.
Right.
Rocky
I've
Mountain
tried.
oysters.
What'd you say?
It's called Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, I've tried cow testicles. Madonna dedicated. I can also see, but you've also been really
a
critical of
connection.
Madonna in the past. So
Damn it.
unless it was like a fucked up
I'm not
Madonna
going
song
first
she
and guessing
dedicated.
this time.
You know what?
I
I
don't
think the lie is you've never eaten cow testicles. How about you, Naja?
You go. Skip me because I need.
Because I can see Madonna like dedicating like.
Yeah,
something
I can
fucked
too.
up.
I'm gonna go with the balls.
Oh,
Yeah.
he didn't say what type of.
No,
Whatever.
he definitely ate
Yeah,
Rocky
he didn't say
Mountain
the
oysters.
song. So there's a few
Right.
songs
So
I
I've
could
eaten them
say.
as well.
I could see her being like, "Yeah, bitch, this song's to you, Perez Hilton."
Madonna. I'm gonna say the Madonna one. I'm agreeing.
Oh,
With you.
you.
Two balls in Madonna.
So no,
Okay.
I think he did eat cow testicles.
You think he did?
Madonna did not?
Right.
Okay, all right.
Correct.
What's up, Perez?
So the lie is Gloria Estefan is not my godmother.
What? That was so crazy.
You tricked us.
Dude, I
Hey.
would have sworn. Come on, Cuba,
I mean, it
Miami.
makes sense. Miami,
you gave us
Cuba.
all of the perfect
I
lineup. I'm like,
know.
this makes
I'm
sense.
good.
You said I couldn't bullshit a bullshit.
You just bullshitted a bullshitter. There you go. I genuinely
I
thought that.
invented George Santos.
Perez, thank you so much for coming on Pants on Fire. We had such a blast, and
Thank
we
you.
can't wait to hear more about what you do next. And stay fighting, because the one thing I'll say about you, you are relentless and you hustle, and I admire that.
Thank you. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed me on here, check out my podcast, the Perez Hilton Podcast with Chris Booker, wherever you stream your favorite shows.
Make sure to subscribe and follow Perez Hilton on his own podcast. Thank you so much, Perez.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Ooh, okay.
So our producer is exhausted because it's been a long day. I'm looking at him
Are you
and he-
exhausted?
trying to find the video, obviously. Actually, the milkshake video.
So anyway, the whole crew is just like, can you just shut up and wrap this up? Let's go home. But all kidding aside, that was a very enlightening interview.
He's a father. I did not know that. 3 babies. He knows how to speak up for himself. And
He
he can be
does.
like, he knows how to revert. Because, honey, he interviewed you on your own podcast.
But I told you, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that was going to happen. There's no way that I'm going to sit with Mr. Perez Hilton and not be interviewed
Yeah.
in my
How
own
cool was that, though?
And, like, we're in our turf and he's interviewing us. It's like
He
amazing.
did ask questions that I think people do want to know your stance on, though. So that's
course.
good. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool that he did that. He seems very nice. That is a grown man. You know,
Yeah.
he's not a child anymore. And he's atoned for a lot of the things that he said and did to build himself. I do wonder if he was the version of himself now, would he still have had that success back then? Like, if he was a nice, healed therapy person, would he still have been able to garner the audience that he did back then? What do you think?
I don't know. I think that he had to do what the times needed him to. And when times get tough, you get rough. So he had to do what he had to do. And I will never hold it over his head.
And people love gossip. People love the nasty. They love a good story.
Celebrities that were butthurt by some of the things he said just need to grow thicker skin. Because look, if Britney, as he even told us, could forgive him, and he was not kind to Britney, I think other people should just grow up. You're in the public eye. Celebrities need to remind themselves that they are up for scrutiny every single day because they choose to walk that carpet. They choose to be actors. They choose to be public figures and
But you don't like
singing and
choose for
acting.
somebody to be an asshole to you, though.
But
Like,
you're a
you would
human,
rather-
and we have flaws.
And we
when
also
you're
have
displaying
feelings, though.
I get
You
that,
know?
but when you're putting yourself out there and displaying all of it, you're susceptible to this. It's
One
part
would
of the
say that a
world.
person's job does not negate them being treated with cruelty, though.
You're telling me that?
I mean, you've defended yourself on this podcast.
But did you just hear what you said? Like, I am the chief recipient of cruelty. Cruelty is
Which I
part
don't
of-
agree with.
Oh, that's fine, and I love you for that. But that's just how the world is, so we can't change it.
People are
So-
nasty and miserable.
especially behind a keyboard when we can't see all 450 pounds of them and their ketchup stains down their shirt. That's just a reality.
They like mustard. They're not ketchup fans. They like mustard.
Whatever. I mean, you know,
the dirty, grungy shirt on.
Yeah, or worse, or when they're like somebody goes do their laundry, all their socks are glued together, like because that's as much action you get. So I understand that these people are very, very brave behind a keyboard.
True,
but
true.
you come up to my face and tell me half of that, you're not doing it. Nobody does it. Like, do you know how many people are bullies online? But when it comes to be face to face, like, oh, hi, Giorgio, you know, it's
Perez
just
was a
banter.
bully. Perez was a bully, and
I don't think
under
he
the
was a
guise of
bully.
it being his job.
I don't think he was a bully. I think he was
You
honest.
would not have wanted the stuff directed at you that he
Girl,
said.
I had worse directed at me than
But
whatever
I guess-
Perez Hilton ever said about any celebrity would never hold a candle to what has been said about me. Have you
But you
watched
know
how the
what?
girls at The View talk about me?
No.
It's not nice.
We
Like,
should bring them here or go there. You should
we should go there.
have you okay.
But I'm suing ABC.
Because I would be well damn.
I can't
George,
go
Signs out front.
you know what?
I'm
we'll just go
suing
stand
ABC.
outside.
They've invited us plenty of time. Not us, me plenty
Yeah.
of times, and I've refused. But long story short, I think Perez Hilton is a healed, organic version of his former
100%.
self. This was super fun. I can now die in peace and thank the entire production that they did. They this is like a little bit of like a full circle, like holy crap,
Yeah.
fanboy moment. Check that off my list because I met even
I
virtually
hope
and
he
spoke to
knows
Perez
how
Hilton.
iconic what he did is and was.
It was a revolution.
I hope he knows that.
It was a whole
Like,
revolution.
It was.
and I love him for it.
I love that he's like living peacefully, beautifully, like a calm. He deserves it. He deserves to
looks
just
great,
chill
too.
right now. He looks great.
He looks
So,
amazing at 46 years old. I want to age like that.
And he's a dad of 3 kids.
There's a whole lot of lighting and makeup game that I'm missing out on. He looks great.
Yeah.
But I do want to remind you all, if you enjoyed our interview with Perez Hilton and all the banter we have with all of our guests, why are you not subscribed? Why are you not in the alerts of YouTube? Why are you not commenting, liking, and sharing? Because you know what? We want to hear from you, our listeners.
You sound like such a politician right now. God.
Girl, subscribe, like, follow, and share everywhere you get
Listen, we want y'all to
podcasts.
come and listen to us because you tell your grandma you like that dry ass cake she makes. So if you can go and show up for her every Sunday, you can show up for us. We love you, and we will see you every week, 7 p.m. Eastern, everywhere you are. That's where we gonna be.